Over the years, I've been fine-tuning the first aid kit I use for my day hikes, and I think I've gotten it to a point where I can treat just about anything that can happen to me on the trail. I can deal with a sprained ankle. I've got a cold compress in here. I can deal with insect bites and stings. I can remove ticks. I can treat blisters. It doesn't weigh a lot, and it's always in my backpack. Problem is, I haven't been hiking at all this year. You know, there's a global pandemic going on, and most of my favorite hiking trails are closed, and the ones that are open, they're crowded. They're crowded with people who don't normally spend any time at all on trails. So I've been riding my bike more, and I purchased a bike a couple of months back, and I've been having a lot of fun with it, and it's allowed me to get out and to get some fresh air. And I can't go into the woods, but at least I can ride alongside them. But in any case, I was on a bike path 2 weeks ago, Sunday morning ride, and the bike path I was on is an old railroad track that's been converted to a path for cyclists and pedestrians. And I was on a segment where for about 4 miles there's just a gentle downhill glide, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was enjoying myself. I was on my way back home, and I was coasting for a good 3 miles, something like that, and doing about 7 miles an hour. And at one point, there were 2 cyclists coming towards me, and they were going pretty fast. They had their 10-speed road bikes, and their goal was to put as much mileage in the least amount of time that morning, and it showed. I mean, they were like Tour de France riders, you know, one following closely in the wake of the other. So they were approaching me as I was just meandering down the hill, and we passed each other. And I got maybe 25 feet, you know, beyond them when I heard a horrible crash, and I heard the sound of really frightening moaning. So the lead rider lost control of his bike shortly after passing me and went headfirst into a retaining wall. So it was at that moment when I turned around to see if I could help that I realized that this first aid kit, as good as it is for hiking, is woefully inadequate for cycling. And I had learned this lesson long ago, but I had forgotten it over the years because I only really did one activity. But you have to tailor your first aid kit to your activity. If I'm going fishing, I should have something with me to be able to cut off, you know, the barb of a hook should I get a hook in my finger. And yet that same tool won't do me any good, you know, if I'm cycling, because the chance of me getting a fish hook, you know, embedded into my skin while I'm riding my bike is virtually non-existent. So I've decided to exchange this kit that I use for day hikes for a different kit that I've put together for my bike rides. And basically, it's a lot bigger, and it's in 2 parts. It's a lot heavier, but it doesn't matter because the bike carries the weight. You know, I'm not restricted to what I can just put in my pack and carry on my back. So let me show you what I've got in here. It's a work in progress right now, and if you have any suggestions as to how I can improve it, please leave your comments below, and they'll be most welcome. But for now, it's subject to change, but for now, I'm going to show you what the contents are, why I've packed these particular items, and we'll go from there. So the rider who crashed was in pretty bad shape. As I said, he went headfirst into the retaining wall, and by the time I rode up to him, he was bleeding profusely out of his eye. His elbow was bleeding, his knee was bleeding, and he was only semi-conscious, and it looked like he was starting to go into shock. So I had basically nothing in here that could be of any use. Fortunately, I had a clean bandana in my back pocket, which I started to use to try to stop the blood flow over his eye. First I thought his eye was really damaged, but fortunately all of the damage was from, he had eyeglasses on and the glasses broke and the stem of the or the arm of the glasses cut into his eye right about the eyebrow. So there was a lot of skin hanging, and it wasn't a pretty sight. So first thing I did was I looked for my gloves. I knew I had latex gloves in this pack. I wanted to get them on because I didn't really want to get his blood on them. So I tried to get the gloves out, and the gloves were in a tiny little envelope, and it was so fiddly I just couldn't even get it open. So that's the first thing. I just made a mental note. Everything has to be easily accessible in this kit, and that's why I've kind of broken it down to two. This contains items to use if there's a bad sprain or a break, and this is the main kit. So I'll put this aside for a moment and we'll just go through the contents of the main kit. And again, I tried to make it so that everything is readily accessible. Now, this particular bag opens up completely all the way around like a clamshell. But what I like about it is you don't have to do that. You can just open the top and reach in. So right away, I've got gloves, which I put in a large sandwich bag. Very easy to get to. Just open the bag, pull out some gloves, and step one is covered. I don't want to have to be fiddling with anything, really. I don't want to fiddle with the gloves, fiddle with the bandages, and so that's number one. Easily accessible gloves to protect me. I've also got a light in here. I don't normally ride at night, but if you happen to be in a tunnel, for example, because this accident happened very close to a tunnel, and had I been in the tunnel, it would have been a lot more difficult to see. So it's good to have a light source. I've got the headlamp. I also have the headlight on the actual bike, which is detachable, but redundancy is good. So the first item I can reach for after the gloves really is iodine spray. This is Providine iodine. It's a first aid spray, which is very effective at killing germs, cleaning a wound. It doesn't hurt. It's really good stuff. And the advantage is it's in a spray bottle, so I don't have to deal with any lotions or gels or anything like that. I don't have to touch the other person. I can just spray and start treating. And one of the things I noticed is also when you fall, you're hiking along a trail and you fall, chances are your injuries are not going to be as bad as if you fall doing 20 miles per hour. So the faster you're going when you fall, the more blood there's probably going to be. I have little bandages and little pieces of gauze here, woefully inadequate. So now I've got trauma pads, I've got assorted sizes, big pieces of absorbent gauze, because it's important. That's what you have to address first, the blood. If things are not so bad, just some cleansing wipes, which also are antibacterial, also good for my own hands. These days you have to be careful. It's not just treating the other person, it's making sure that if the other person is carrying anything that can infect you as well, that you do what you can to mitigate that. I've got bandages which adhere to themselves. I've got one here, and I've got more in the second package. The idea behind this is that I don't have to worry about tape or metal clips or anything. Just wrap it and let it stick to itself and cut it. And to cut it, I've got the medical scissors, which don't weigh a lot, but when you need them, you need them. But I think you can also just rip this. You don't have to actually use scissors. So that's a good thing. Instant cold pack for sprains. What types of injuries are you going to get if you don't go face first into a wall? If you fall off your bike, you might sprain a finger, break a finger, sprain an ankle, hurt your knee or whatever. So it's good to have a cold pack. And I do have assorted bandages. I have some large size ones, which I wasn't carrying before. I think this is the biggest one that I have in my other kit, but now I'm just carrying that much more. I've got tape, which is easy to apply and easy to rip for when things aren't such an emergency. One of the things that I noticed was the cyclist who hit the wall started getting cold, and I think he was going into shock. So I have this is a Don't Die in the Woods brand emergency blanket, but this is one of the good ones that is reusable, because most of these foil blankets that you see, they're one and done, but this has the orange coating on one side that kind of just stiffens the material, and very, very good quality, emergency blanket, which again, very lightweight, but it's better to have it. I didn't use it because obviously I didn't have any of this stuff. I didn't have one in this kit either, but it could have come in handy. Some more antiseptic wipes. Now, I've got some medications here, acetaminophen or paracetamol if you're British, some diphenhydramine, which is for bites and stings, aspirin, ibuprofen. But this is for me. I'm not going to give any medications to anyone else. I don't know what other people are allergic to. I don't know what other people are taking. This is for me only, so I'll just, keep that aside. It's there, but it's not for general consumption. I've got a couple of these crafting sticks, which I could use as finger splints. I do have another option for splints that I'll show you momentarily, but again, fall off a bike, chances are you'll sprain a finger, break a finger. It's good to have the splints in conjunction with this self-adhering tape. It's very easy to put something together to keep the joint immobilized. More packets of medication. I do still plan on going to the woods one day. I don't think I'll take this particular bag with me, but I did transfer some of the things from this kit to this, and it's basically more medications, stomach upset, diarrhea medications, for stings and bites, etc. And getting towards the end here, but some applicator swabs. A very, very powerful P-less whistle, because when I witnessed the accident, the second rider, although he was able to stop himself from crashing into his friend, he tried to call for rescue and could not get a cell phone signal. Fortunately, I was able to get a cell phone signal, inexplicably, just a few feet away from him. Having many ways to call for help is not a bad thing. Some non-stick pads, some more smaller size. Butterfly bandages, just to hold a cut closed. For blisters, probably won't use these much riding, but they're in there. And that's it for this kit. And again, this does open completely, so you can. I had some more applicator swabs here. And the other thing is, and I decided to break it out because, again, easy access. I've got more of this tape. I've got ace bandage that also sticks to itself, and I carry a splint. This is aluminum, which is coated in foam, and it's very malleable, and you could even cut it if you want to make smaller ones, but this will go around your leg or around your arm, and wrap it with the gauze. I'll just show you the illustration here. You can do something like that, and you have a good, very easily accessible and inexpensive splint, because you're probably not going to get it back. So it weighs nothing, it carries small. I'm going to bring it because the possibility of hurting a leg or a foot or an arm are pretty high when cycling. And the other item I have here, well, I have a little first aid guide. Everyone needs a refresher. And I just carry one of my water filters here because if I am close to water, which is a high possibility, you know, where I hike and ride because there are streams and brooks and lakes and ponds all over the place, I could use this to clean things off later, even if it's not for drinking. It's just to get that clean water, replenish whatever I use, or you know, clean things off afterwards. So that's it. And like I said, it's not complete. It's not, you know, I'd like to keep it all in this bag. This fits nicely in one of my my bike rack on my trunk, or one of the pannier bags, and that's it. So thanks again for watching, and stay safe out there.